What up, what up, what up, what up? Peace and blessings, glory, praise, and honor to the Most High. And happy Monday, happy Monday, happy Monday. Shout out to everybody today, man. I hope all is well with each and every single one of you. It is an honor and a privilege to be here one more day to speak positive, to have an adult conversation, to share my thoughts and my views, to provide a space for people to be able to share their life experiences, their wisdom with others who may need to hear from a different perspective. You know the vibes, assembly of excellence back in the building. You know, everybody for the most part just got back into the work week, so I know Mondays can be a little, yeah, iffy for some people, but let's have a different mindset. I want to usher in a different type of spirit going into this work week. You know, shout out to my writers, my poets, my content creators, my panelists, past and present. Salutes to all of you. I appreciate all of your effort, all of your time, all of your soul that you pour into your work. Continue to push forward and do your thing. We love you on this side of the internet, regardless of what anybody else has to say about it. Tonight, we got to take a little left turn. Some of these things people don't like to discuss, but I felt like somebody needs to hear this today. And I couldn't think of anybody better to have this conversation with than the young lady that I'm about to bring up. If you're not familiar with her, you might want to get familiar with her. She is an awesome, awesome lady. She is going above and beyond for her community. She has been nothing but supportive, nothing but intellectually in tune. Um, give a warm welcome for Miss Christy.
Hey, everybody. Shout out to everybody. Much love on this Monday. Wicked Low asked if you could send him the link.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. That's a bet. We're gonna do that right now. Go ahead while I'm ushering the brother in. You can go ahead and do your thing. If there's anything you want to share with the people before we actually get into this conversation.
Well, I would definitely love to tell the people that I'm hoping that they're having a good day, a good evening, a good night. Do the best that you can. If your day is about over, look at what you've done that was right and just rest on that because tomorrow, waits for itself. You just deal with today and really just try to tune into podcasts like this while you're in the evening time, while you're getting settled down and being able to come in with us, converse. We're in your homes, we're in your car with you, wherever you might be at, we're right with you. So let's get into the conversations and make them very positive, and if you're feeling negative or you're feeling down or whatever, then tune on in, come on in, talk to us, so that way we can just share our gems from our life, and you may have something positive to say to us as well. So it would be beautiful if we can start this work week off every night in a right mindset, in a right frame to where we're able to digest everything that's going on, but we know that there is still hope and that we've done the best that we can, and that's all we can do.
Amen and amen again. That's real talk. You know, I'm be completely honest with you. This is the type of stuff that, for whatever reason, people tend to avoid. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because it doesn't have that flair or that extra spice to it that kind of causes folks not to have that zeal or zest for self improvement. I don't know if it's because people are just extremely oppressed to the point to where certain things are blocking them from receiving anything positive from social media or from anybody. But we need to break through that. We have to allow God to use us in ways to plant seeds to pierce this heaviness of evil that is fortifying the hearts and minds of souls, because this is ridiculous and is out of control. And so, as far as I'm concerned, this is why we are here today.
Yes, absolutely. And I just want to expand on that for a minute because when there's several reasons that I see when I'm out here in the community, other communities, wherever I've traveled in my life, there are really not a whole lot of categories that people are in. You have certain different types of people, you know. And unfortunately, some of them come from families where the parents not only was not up in their skills, you know, of education or something else, you know, because back in the day you could not have your education and be smart and be able to get into good positions, you know. Um, but they're coming from people also I've seen where mothers tend and fathers tend to treat their kids so wrong that by the time they grow up, they don't have that self awareness at all about, you know, okay, well, I can do better because they're seeing and they've always seen the worst. I mean, there's a mother daughter right now that I'm telling you, this woman is in her 40s, her mother is in her 70s, and they've been doing it for decades. Where I'm just like, oh my gosh, I can't be around them because the mother will just talk about her so bad, and there'll be plenty of people around. And I'm like, dang, she's a grown woman taking care of you. So I can understand why she's going through and never rising up to her level because she's always been and then she feels as though that she has to be obligated to take care of her mother because that's what you're supposed to do. So then there's those people who just say, you know what, it's just too hard because I'm the victim. This happened to me, that happened to me, that happened to me. And therefore, you know what, I'm just always going to be depressed, or I'm always going to feel, you know, like I can't improve myself. You know, some people it's going to be harder and sometimes it takes longer. And you don't put a time limit on that, but you do start the path of the work. And once you know that God is tapping into you, when you know that Most High is reaching down into the depths of your soul and saying, hey, look, you know, you're not going to make it in this world if you don't get yourself together, you know. And so when we get aware of that, then we need to know exactly the kind of people to be around and understand the energy, because that's where you'll be able to find that you can start to, you know, maneuver out of these situations and start to see the light, you know. And then that's like, okay, cool. And then you have other people who are just like this. I know that everything is just crappy. It's all the government. And, you know, so they don't care about us, you know, whoever us is. And so therefore, you know, they're just going out here and doing anything and everything. And with the laws being what it is, what's happening in the United States, it is going to get worse before it gets better, because it seems like people are screaming for somebody to take control. The problem is, who is it that you want to take control? to help guide this, because if you sit there and just leave it into the hands of the wrong people, then you can't keep on complaining no more about it, So I've been around people who have told me, you know what, Christy, no, I don't want to talk to you. And I'm like, why? And they're like, because I don't feel like being happy right now. And I would laugh, but it would be true. They wanted to be in a sucky mood and argumentative with somebody else. So they just didn't want to calm themselves and talk to me. So it is a state of mind that now what we have to do is shift and say there is time in your day, like listening to this podcast afterwards, praying, meditating, and getting in tune with self, putting down so much of the social media and start getting in tuned with what's going on in our lives, because this is real. Me and you were talking is real. This is all real. It has to be good things like that are transmitting into your life. And if you don't want to see it and you want to go up against it, there are ways for you to either get the point and live a good life, or you're going to be out of this world. And unfortunately, life is going to continue on without you.
One thing I want to point out real quick: the enemy is real. Satan is real. You're probably going to hear me reiterate that over and over throughout these conversations that come up, because I want people to understand, just because you hide behind this veil does not remove you from the reality thereof, that there is a heaven and a hell, there is a dark, and then there is a good in this world. And because we understand that this is a reality and that this is a truth, whether or not you have personally experienced this or not, the truth of the matter is Satan is real. He only has one job, which is to rob, destroy, and create as much destruction in your life as possible. And he will go to the extremes to do so. What you have to do is understand that the world goes beyond your bubble. You need to come out of that box. I don't know what puts you in that position to only see things from one point of view, but there is a wider spectrum of circumstances spread all across the universe that you have yet to see, even myself, that will reveal to you that there are way farther situations, more harmful, more deadly, more toxic than you could ever imagine. Now, everyone has a calling, everyone has a purpose. The question is, where do we start, right? Because this is only going to be for a select few people. Everybody is not going to receive this, or understand or want to really take this that serious. We know how the internet works. We know how the world works. The truth is, we could put all of the evidence and all of the truth right in front of you, and just because it's coming from us or someone that is not in the same spotlight as someone in a bigger platform, you're not going to really want to take it for what it is. But there's some things we got to unpack here. And really, this is all about trying to break people out of conditioning so that you can actually operate from a better place in yourself. Wicked Low, what's going on, brother?
You, what's going on? How you doing? How you doing? All right. Hey there. How you doing, sis? What's going
What
on?
what's the word?
You know, life. That's a word. Nah, everything's good. What's going on, man? How you doing?
Count my blessings, bro. Trying to beat a monopoly in this race we call getting to the finish line.
Okay. Okay.
So
All right. What's up?
here's where we at, right?
Uh-huh.
Um, we're trying to get across this point that you have, or the person who is going to watch this back, you have a gift, you have a special or a hidden talent that you're not utilizing, and we need to figure out why you're not using it. We need you to understand what is causing you to hold yourself back from fulfilling your fullest potential, because a lot of people waste their life and never live it the way that they could have.
Hmm.
So I want to start there. Um,
Okay.
since you just pulled up in the building, bro, I'll let you go first, Christy. You can follow up.
Okay.
All right, yeah. All right. So, being that, I mean, I think honestly, as far as gifts go, and some people not utilizing them, or or things of that nature. I think it's a lot to do with it's many variables to that because it could be fear, it could be a little bit of everything. You know what I'm saying? Your current situation or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? So as far as people not using their God given gifts, it's like like some people may not even recognize it to be on the real. You know what I mean? Like some people can do something really good, right? And that's their God given gift, right? But they don't want to, you know, use it on a grand scale, shall I say? You feel me? So it's like me, for example, like okay, I never really, I'm gonna say like I never really, and if I'm correct on it, right? Like you're saying, people not utilizing their gifts, correct?
Yeah.
So, and I take myself for example then. So, I never really cared for as far as being super famous, just living enough to, doing my thing enough to like first of all, I just love doing it. It's just something that I just end up doing really good. That and working on cars. I'm in the cooking, well, working on cars. So I never really wanted to like make that like as far as like the car stuff. I don't, want to go work in the shop and do that. I just rather work on my own cars and I can do that. Music wise, you know, I use it to pass along the message, of course, and like I said again, I just never, you know. Now some people don't want to go to that scale. Like for me, example, like I said before, I just never cared for being this to be comfortable, really. You know what I mean? Um, of course, I just do it to love music, but some people just don't want to do it to that level. They just do it to. Some people do it for. You may not see it because they doing it for them, something that they like to do, but just not on a grand scale. So that's what I mean by like yeah, just a soldier.
Okay. Well, there's several points from that. Number one, using myself as an example, life, the things that happen, things that are distractions, things that we think that we really, really need that really isn't good for us. We want the things, sometimes the easy route or that person that we think we put all our chips into. And what happens is that we get lost and we get pulled apart. So a lot of our gifts, like for me, example, I knew at 6 years old that I had two gifts. One was writing, and the other one was being able to have premonitions. That's something I couldn't tell because my mother didn't believe in that. So I didn't want to get into trouble, but I could see things that were happening ahead of time. And so, and my writing skills. So I carried that all the way through, and it took me a long time, but all of a sudden I had stopped writing, and because it was the kids and dealing with, the schools and the hospitals and all that kind of stuff in between there, and having to face death myself. Um, it was wild because I told my son one time, I don't think I can write anymore. I don't think that it's in me. And he's like, Mom, he's like, it's not that you don't have it anymore. He said, you just lost it for a minute. It's like something being on the shelf and it's so high up that you just forgot it was up there. And from that point on, even through, fighting for my life and everything as far as physically and stuff, then, I got back into it, and it was something that was refreshing because sometimes it takes something simple for somebody to remind you that what you thought that is gone, that you don't have anymore. Yes, you do. Just go find it. Secondly, those that are, okay with doing it not on a grand scale, that's fine because you can be the best in your community. You can be the best, of course, in your household, in your family. You can be the best in your job or whatever you're doing. Be the best that it is, and that can be your grand scale. Some people are not meant to be worldwide, but everybody counts. And so therefore, utilize your gifts in the way that it will help people to see what's inside of them. Be that shining light once again that I will talk about many times. Be that shining light, that city on the hill that is lit up for other people to say, wait a minute, I really want some of that. Even if they take a little bit, it just means so much for people to understand that when you're facing these fears, when you're facing whatever it is, to get back into your gifts and to know what's going on. Secondly, it was another thing too about people when they use that term, I have to go find myself. When you had to go find yourself, that really meant that you were trying to figure out who you are, what are your gifts, you know. So some people feel as though that they have something, but if they outshine other people in their family or anything else, then other people are going to move away from them. So they douse down these gifts because jealousy does come in. It rears its head, and that hateful spirit comes at you, and you're like, dag, I just moved in position up a little bit. I'm not a millionaire or nothing, and you still hating on me because I'm not doing anything wrong, and I'm even helping out. I'm not stingy or anything like that, but it doesn't matter. People think that if you're moving up and they're not, then there's a problem. So a lot of people will douse it down. I know I did for a while. I doused down my gifts, and I will never do it again because it cost me time that I can't get back. And I will leave it on that point.
When you're growing up, you don't always have the fortunate position of having uh, a mentor or brother or a father or mother all the time. Sometimes they can be present and still be absent. During your developmental stages, you find that you're experimenting with different things. You might want to be one thing at 5, and then by the age of 10, you're pursuing something completely different. But are you being mentored in the ways where someone is helping you decisively hone your 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 hobbies? People call them hobbies, but to be honest, a hobby to me is just something that you really enjoy doing that doesn't come at the requirement of someone else's acceptance. You can sit back and just have fun with it all you want. You can do it all day. You ain't worried about the approval of no one else. You're not waiting on a gold star. You're not waiting
Mm-hmm.
on anyone to say you did it. Think, yeah, thumbs up. You just enjoy doing it without any pressure.
Mm-hmm.
Then I always revert back to the enemy because the type of demonic warfare that we deal with is so undescribably nuanced that people will brush it aside like there is no equation of his presence whatsoever. By the time you come out of the womb, he is already there with plans, with snares, with goals and objectives to hinder your life. The minute that you are born, he has no sympathy over a child, let alone an adult. So, depending on what you're being introduced to and what is coming and going in and out of your life, he can swoop in there and invoke all of these different doubts and emotions into your head. And he can use children, he can use teachers, he can use property managers, he can use your very own family to put it in you that, oh nah, you're not going to be able to paint. You're not no good painter. You're not a good drawer. You're not this. You're not that. Or just like you said about the envy and jealousy, that'll put make a person a per, Satan
Mm-hmm.
is so Satan is so crafty that he will put you around people that you think are your friends and they're not your friends. The whole entire purpose of those people being in your life is to suppress your smile, your zeal, your enthusiasm for life and living. The whole
Mm-hmm.
purpose of them people being around you is to stop you from progressing. And like she
Yeah.
said, and just like Lo said, you don't even have to be a gazillionaire. Everybody's blessings and gifts serve different purposes. You can be the person who knows how to talk someone off of the cliff. You can save
Mm-hmm.
somebody from committing suicide. You have the gift of communicating. You might have the gift of singing and praising. You might have the gift of cleaning. You might have the gift of listening. It really varies. But Satan already knows what your destiny is. So his only purpose and his only mission is to hinder and stop it at all costs. And he will use anything and everyone to do it. So the reason why we are here is because a lot of you don't even realize that you have things that are your niche. It's your thing. It's what works. It's what draws people to you. What makes them want to think and want to reshape the way that they operate and the way they move. You don't even realize it because the things that you look at as normal and not really important could be the very things that you're extremely good at, you excel and exceed at it like nobody else, but it's been presented to you like it's just average and it's just regular. And now you have these folks picking on you. They're being very cynical of everything that you do. They watch every move you make. They try to talk down to you and make you feel small about your accomplishments. Man, such and such did that the other day. That ain't nothing. They try to just tear down and rip apart any achievements that you make,
Mm-hmm.
not knowing that they're being controlled and they're being used. See, envy, jealousy, and all of those things are demonic spirits, monitoring spirits that come and go from this plane to the next, going back to their commanders and their leaders. They know everything about us. They know just as much about us as God does, but they don't have the power or the authority to harm us unless we allow them to enter within our vessel to control and to do things that would force us to be harmed. I turn it over.
Definitely agree. Definitely agree. Um, but the only thing I would say, I was gonna suggest, but the only thing I was gonna say is like even those who just look at their gifts as hobbies, because a lot of times I've known a lot of people who do things for hobby that is very like no, like as you said, nobody can do it like that. But a lot of times, but as again, everybody's gift is there for a reason. You know what I'm saying? Like some is just like you say, some is just a great listener. Some can just you know they can talk when they're doing basic anything. So as far as that goes, but yeah, no, definitely agree, definitely agree.
Okay. My take on it is that when you already are aware of good and evil, you know when you can feel that you don't feel right. You know something inside of you isn't right, but when you ignore it for the sake of the people around you, that's like drinking poison slowly. And it ends up damaging you from doing the gifts wherever you were meant to be placed, whatever was going down your path, that was for you. Then you're robbing yourself of even to enjoy that life. You're just seeing a lot of people that are just totally losing their minds. And yes, it's a lot of things that are going on that are demonic, that we can call evil, that we can say, okay, it is taking over. And however, like you said, it cannot have that much power over you once you decide that, wait a second, I don't have to go and do this. For instance, you have people in their households, they'll go ahead and say, well, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and pay half the rent, or something like that. And I'll just make up something and I know my landlord's just going to accept it. And if they don't, then they're like, what? No, take care of what you need to take care of. Be the best that you can and be that example, starting from there and then moving forward into your kids, into your community, whatever you need to do on a grand scale. That can be the grand thing that you do. It is not up to us to say, like I used to tell people all the time what their gifts were, and I would push and I would, try to be the biggest cheerleader and stuff like that. And then I realized that, wait a minute, you have to want it for yourself, because some people it takes time, and that's cool. But there's other people that can be right there. Just for instance, like with Wicked Low, I was telling him I've never done a spoken word album. And I was like, I'm going to do it. In my head, I was thinking, yeah, I want to do that because that's part of my gift, is to be able to speak, to be able to do my poetry, short stories, things like that. And so I said, wow, I want to do a spoken word album. And, he was like, oh, okay, cool. But the way that he was able to guide me, and it wasn't even in a way where I had set a date or anything else, but he was so surprised once I found out that, yeah, I'm going to start it now. And he was there every step of the way to making this happen for me. And that's what you need to do, is hold on. I have to cut out a lot of folks. I have to put them distance wise. Some people need to just go all the way. I had to do that in order to say that, wait a minute, my gifts, all these distractions, all these things that are coming against me that are evil, and I know I don't deserve it. Here's the way that I am going to be. I'm going to sit up there and I'm going to reach deep down inside myself, understand who made me, who lives in me, and who is the controller of all things. And I'm going to do what I got to do. And that's what I did. I stepped out on faith on so many times. And it's like, oh, shoot, what's going to happen? But I just know one thing, I can't stay where I'm at. And I'm hoping that other people are being shaken up now and start to saying, wait a minute, certain things we got to shine on. We got these gifts. Let's come together. Once we check our ego every day at the door, and really just get with each other and stuff like that, and build back the communities, build back the things that we would look up to people in our neighborhoods and stuff like that as role models, and people that could be trusted, to going anywhere. You had more of a safety back then, because everybody what was saying, hey, find that niche. They would look at you and be like, yes, and we'll support you, and we'll take you through this. Nowadays, you know, sometimes trying to get to your niche, we talked about the enemy. We talked about, the way that he can come through people, and it can come through people who can say, yeah, I can make that gift shine for you. But you don't want to sell your soul either for it.
Right.
To get to that grand level, so that way people, you're thinking, okay, I'm going to do this because I really want to reach the people, but then now you're tainted and you're giving out a part of you that's just not the same. Something is different from your soul, so when you're giving it out, it's not as power packed. It doesn't have the impact that you thought it would, because you thought about how you wanted to live, what you wanted to wear, and how you thought that you deserved that, and you blinded yourself. So all these different things just come into play about our gifts. First, knowing them, nurturing them, being around others that will, and be able to just, like I said, go for it, go out there. Don't be afraid to even be on social media. That's how I met Wicked Low. And now he's working with me on my second album. You have people like Mel, shoot, randomly, boom. It's that energy, it's the right timing, and it's ready. You're ready to go, and you can go ahead with your gifts and then spread it in the right way. Planting those seeds, sowing those seeds, and being there for you when the weeds come back, to try to help you with that. It's got to be community and not always about individual. Because somebody's got to be able to say, wait a minute, you got that talent, and they believe in you. It's just, don't sell your soul, and don't sell yourself short to the devil and the demonic things, the energy, negativity, period. We all should know and understand darkness. And when it comes to your niche, don't let nobody take that light and try to overshadow it with darkness. It's not worth it in this life.
Well, so
It's going to come. It's going to come down to a point to where you have a relationship with God, a real relationship with God, not the one that the secular world advertises and promotes you to have. You're going to have to have conversations with him, intimate ones. You're going to have to read. You're going to have to do a lot of soul searching and a lot of cultivating and a lots of excavation within your soul, within yourself, in order to find the information and the clarity that you need. And it's going to come at a price. You're going to have to sacrifice people. And I'm not talking about cutting off chicken arms and legs and doing all of the witchcraft and all that. I'm talking about you're going to have to cut loose people that no longer serve you purpose. They're not edifying your spirit. They're not talking life into you. They're not directing you
Mhm.
in places that's going to put you in position to be successful. They're not revealing to you your strengths and your attributes. They're not complimenting you in ways that is healthy. They're
Mhm.
more of a detriment than they are influence. You're going to have to let them go.
Right
You're going to have
on.
to get you're going to have to get rid of human attachments, fleshly attachments.
Mm.
If you're drawn to flashy things and your ideology is synced in with the idea that if you have this and that by definition makes you successful, or that is your no, that's
Right.
not going to work. It's not going to cut it at all. God will give you the things that you ask for, but it's going to come at a price because quite frankly, we ask for a lot of things that we think we want, and then when we get them, we find out that it is not what we wanted in the first place.
Mhm.
Because you really didn't understand what it was that you were getting yourself involved in.
Mhm.
You saw the pretty, attractive, aesthetic features of whatever it is. You wanted it
Mhm.
just like a kid, a 5 year old or a teenager who wants the cell phone, the new iPhone, or you want to play whatever. You see this
Mhm.
little beautiful little thing, you want it, you don't care how you get it, and then when you get it, you find out that is the bane of your existence. You can't sleep at night. You can hardly eat. It's breaking your heart. It's breaking your pockets. It's not bringing the best out of you. You're losing yourself. You don't know who you are, where you are, what you're supposed to be doing. You're crying and calling for help from all these different places, except for the one who is really providing you everything that you need in the first place. But he's the one who gave you what you asked for, right? So my thing is everyone has something in them. It might not be poker champion of 2024. It might not be the world Guinness World Record breaker for whatever, but you are definitely good at something. And a lot of
Mhm.
people just look at it like this, right? There's billions of people who are in hell, and there's who can even number how many people are in heaven. Some of them barely even made it. These people who went to hell wish they could be back here, wish they could do things over, rewrite the way they treated people, how they treated the vessel that they were blessed with. They wish that they would have taken different routes. And here's the crazy thing about all of this is while the enemy is lying to you and being very flirtatious, leading you astray, for every person who ever lied to you and screwed you over, for every person who told you it was okay to drink, smoke, or whatever the cause may be, there was always someone else on the other side of the spectrum saying, I love you, I care about you, stop doing what you're doing, you're talented this, you're gifted at this, you are a beautiful person, you are hard-headed, you are stubborn, you need to hold yourself accountable, you need to go back to school, you need to do this, you need to do that. For every negative there's a positive. For whatever reason we get in this space where we ignore all of the signs that are right there, just like you have multiple thoughts in your head of one thing telling you to go one way and vice versa. There's people who come into your life to guide you, to show you God is present, and there's people to show you that Satan is present. But you have to be able to discern and break habits, break cycles, break generational curses, break yokes, pray, get on your knees, get on your face, do the research. You ain't gotta believe me, you ain't gotta believe Christy. But what you should be trying to do is figure out what is for you, what is right for you, what fits for you best, who is for you, who is going to bring you the best version of yourself as possible. How can you get I, as long as you alive and you breathe right now, you can be and do whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to be on the same level of Beyonce or Fantasia. What you are and who you are is just as special and just as important as the next person. You want to chime in?
Yeah, yeah. I was processing what you're saying, because it's just so important for people to regain their passion to get to know who they are. Like some people, they find out really like who they are once their kids go off to college, and stuff like that. Then you start to see people really getting to say, okay, who am I? Because my kids are gone, or or whatever situation in life. I can only speak as a mom that having to really dig deep and look at myself and say, okay, you know what? Don't worry about age. Don't worry about what's happening with your pain levels and things like that. All that stuff is going, okay. Think about where you are with God. Think about what's going on in your life, that a generational curse that needed to be broken. I needed to be able to maneuver through this world with as much sanity as possible, and knowing that I had to dig a lot, because we don't just do things small and then all of a sudden, it goes away quick. If something goes wrong in 2 months, you can recover, after that by making a mistake. But when you're doing for years or decades, you're going to have to give yourself grace and know that, you know what, okay, I'm going to work through all of these things, because that way I can be a stronger and better me. And I am that safe space. God has protected me with a safe space to be able to say what I have to say. And if you don't like it, I understand it. I'm just trying to help you and you and you and you and you to see spending time with yourself is a must, because that's the time that you get to spend with God. You get to nurture your spirit. You get to really go down deep, like you said. Read, find out more, go down, further and further and further, because it's going to benefit you down the line of seeing what's going on now and how what you can utilize right now, your gifts in this world to make it better. And that's what it means by in the Bible when it says, do not squander your gifts. There is a reason that that was mentioned. It's because, wait a minute, we are needed down here. And even though we're not going to always agree with everybody or whatever, we have a gift. And what we want to do is be able to say, you know what? Okay, my sister is not liking me. She's upset with me because I'm doing these things. I don't understand why. Don't spend so much time on that. Be able to say, okay, she's come. You know what? Okay, I'll deal with her later, but I'm going to continue on this road. Well, now I got a boyfriend, you know what I mean? And he's like, okay, I'm spending too much time, doing it, my craft, my gift, so I'm going to try to step back and do that to please him, to see if we're going to make into a full-fledged relationship. So, just look at what's happening in your life. And when it's negative, in the sense, not something that somebody is confronting with you and holding you accountable of. It is about those that are looking at you and, like you said, ripping you apart to where you no longer feel like you even deserve to go out there and be in front of somebody and anybody and speak, what I mean, and be present and be seen, be heard. You just don't even think that in your life. Please just understand that you can find it, within your Bible. You can find it through your prayer, your meditation, what is being revealed to you in your spirit. You're going to know what is right. And it's okay to be uncomfortable in situations where you have to remove yourself from situations. It's going to be harder. And you're like, oh my gosh, that's the good price that you can pay, though, because that kind of thing musters up strength and courage to keep on going and going until where the things that you love to do and is good, that you love to do it. Like missionary work. I loved missionary work as a kid and I love it now. And so I'm going to be the best person that I can be in that area. So whatever it is for everybody, just take your time, slow down the world, and find peace within him, and then go and hone in and find that strength to say, you know what, I got to remove this person, or I have to remove, I'm not going to get that car. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be able to buy that kind of house because there's something else that I know I have to do to keep sowing for further down to wherever it needs to be, and to take care of yourself, in these times, and be healthy and enough to go out there and just be proud by the end of the day and say, you know what, I did my best. I utilized my gifts to the best of my ability that pleases the Most High.
There's a great deceptor amongst us, folks. A very elusive and charming one. He is very masterful at what he does. You want to identify who is for you and who is not for you? Try the spirit by the spirit. You want to find yourself in a healthier mindset and a healthier place spiritually and emotionally? Dare to be different. Step out on a leap of faith and do something that the world is going to give you pushback on. I guarantee you will find that there is more to you than what people have tried to hide from you. I've been around numerous people who tried to diminish every single thing that I was. Everything down to the very molecule. They did not want me to be the outspoken one or the talker of the group. I was not supposed to be here. I was not supposed to be writing poetry. Satan did a very good job at destabilizing my household, and it took the loss of multiple people for me to finally shut down, break away from social media, from the opinions of others, break away from the stigmas of popular opinion and
Mhm.
social status, in order for me to realize that I am uniquely made and created in the image that God wanted me to be. I am uniquely designed to deliver my messages the way that I am supposed to, down to my dress code, down to my wordage, down to my format, down to my setup, down to every single individual that comes into contact with me. That is me. That is all God. Took me years and years of heartache, embarrassment, humiliation, praying,
Mhm.
being rebellious, stubborn, hard headed, walking away, ignoring him, not talking to him, abandoning all of his words, abandoning the idea of trusting in him to lead me in a dry place when everything was crashing around me. It took the loss of people, and it took the loss of so many things that I idolized and pedestalized in order for me to finally realize that God is the source of everything that I have. And without him, none of this stuff matters anyway. My gifts, my talents are things that I've had to hone and practice over the years. I've dabbled and dabbled in multiple things. I draw, I write, I do short stories, I host, but you know, you get in this space where the devil and people are they're so institutionalized by what success is supposed to look like, that if you continue to listen to other people, you will never get anywhere. And I've experimented with multiple things, and I didn't go as far as I wanted to with this. So I'm gonna go ahead and give up. I'm gonna take a break from it. I'm gonna stop. I'm not getting the immediate results that I want. But the fact of the matter is, if you stop, you never get to your destination at all. You never even figure out what you're really good at until you decide to stop being lazy like a daisical, and you stop allowing different things from the outside to influence who you are and what you can do. So my mask came off, and I said, screw the opinions, screw if you like
Mhm.
me or not, screw if you gravitate towards what I say, screw whether or not you are in my support of my mission and my calling, screw if you don't even believe in God. Not to say it like I don't want you to believe or not. I don't force my beliefs on nobody,
Mhm.
but I have a compassion. I have an everlasting compassion for people who do me dirty. I have an everlasting compassion for people who belittle me and look down on me like I'm insignificant. I have a passion for people who are broken and lost and hurt and want to be saved, and they want to find some type of elevation within their self and in their life. I have a passion for brokenness, and it took me years and years and years and years to realize that it's not a punishment. I used to think like I was a dumbass because I was always wearing my heart on my sleeve, and I was always letting people beat the hell out of me mentally and emotionally and use me and siphon all
Mhm.
of my joy out of me. I thought I was just a victim.
Right.
And then it occurred to me that this is something that I'm actually good at. I'm very good at loving people. I'm very good at
Ah.
giving. I'm very good at forgiving. I'm very good at having patience. I'm very good at talking to someone and listening to someone, and showing them, that there's someone that actually loves and cares about you. I'm very good at being an example that God exists, because people tend to think that everything has to be tit for tat. Revenge is yours, eye for eye. Oh, I have to be the most violent. I have to be the most tough and the most aggressive and the most masculine man in the room. I have to be the most loud. I have to have all of this stuff going on, all of this bravado. And the reality is meekness, being humble, being poised, being stoic, being calm in your spirit and your thoughts, and how you conduct and carry yourself as a representative of the Most High outweighs all of your ignorance and all of your pride and your ego. And it took me years and years of being humbled to finally realize where I was supposed to be at. With that being said, a lot of you are probably in that same space.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of you are probably in that same space that I was in,
Yeah.
and you don't even realize it. I give it to you, Christian. I had to get that out. I I really had to get
Yeah.
that out.
Yeah. Well, I've been your amen corner over here. Yeah, and when I realized that I had the opportunity to do things right away that I wanted to do, and like I said, things got real murky after my parents passed, and so it was about people who are younger, and I'm going to talk to the teenagers that are like, okay, I have this passion, and some a crisis happens in their life. That does not mean that they cannot take that road, particularly when it's offered to them. Because other people feel as though that you may should be loyal to them, whether it be family, friends, whatever, that loyalty of you not leaving them. But sometimes it's good to have to leave them, because that way you can expand. So there's nothing that's ever going to just be all comfortable all day, all night. Everything is going to go smoothly, and you're not going to be tempted. You're not going to have accidents or anything that comes your way. And sometimes you just don't have to read a whole lot into it. You just should be able to start to understand what it means to have the armor of God on. Understand what that truly means as you walk, as you go to sleep, you still are protected all the way around. And so your gifts and everything else you can protect from those that want to snatch it away by what? Putting you down, doing things of, as you were talking about, Mel, and as Brother Lowe, was saying, and me even to find music now at the stage and age of my life and picking up the guitar again after decades, things like that that I know that I'm good at, and I can utilize, so that way people can have a different take on spoken word. It doesn't have to just be without any music or any excitement or any type of blend. So those are the things that I know that I'm grateful to be here today, to be able to say, you know what, I'm seeing things happen. I'm seeing, and talking to Brother Lowe all the time as we build up on this, and then being able to share in a podcast and everything else. It's like, yes, these are the things that I just spoke out. I just spoke out of my mouth, and I let go, because sometimes we tend to get so anxious and so nervous and so worried that sometimes it backfires on us, because we want to do something. Then when it's time to show up, we get so scared, and then we make up an excuse why we're not showing up, to do our gifts, to shine, and we can't keep on making excuses, because when we do, there's no reason you should be complaining, because you choose not to follow some things, and sometimes people, all of us have to learn lessons a different way. Everybody don't get to the same place at the same time, and that's why we're all down here, so that way we can help each other, navigate through these things that we're holding on inside, and it's stifling us from being the best, by saying, okay, yeah, like I always loved that this one mailman that we've had for 2 decades, and he is always smiling. It does not matter. You don't know what's going on in that man's life, but you know one thing: when he's delivering that mail, he's a happy person, and making sure that you get your stuff and everything else, and greets you, and so that he's being the best that he can. And that's what you applaud. We stopped applauding people who were in the police because of certain things that were going on. We stopped applauding people who were firefighters. We really stopped, the people, and that, because we have decided that it's just the easier route to ignore the fact that you can really stand out and shine. And like I said, some people don't know what that means to do that, because they feel that, they've been beaten down so much from everybody and everything, and all I can say is that, it's never too late to join your own party. And what I mean by that simply is that there's a party for you, that I know that God has, which I call so many blessings. And when you get into your gifts and everything else, that means you're honing into Him. You're honing into what you know that you can do. And just don't make the mistake of never joining your party that He has for you.
Real quick before I pass it to Mr. Lowe, something that I want you guys to be very aware of. Let's just clear the atmosphere. Let's clear our thoughts. Let's remove all of the distractions from outside of the world. Let's not think about the job tomorrow or the drama. That just clear our head for a second. Something that just really dawned on me that I want to pass along. Did you know that Satan, his legion, the ones that he uses and assembles to come here and there from hell? Did you know that they feed off of your emotions? You know how you starve, you ain't ate nothing all day, and when you finally get something to
Mhm.
eat, you just get that oh my goodness, that was every that's exactly what demonic spirits are. If you are depressed, if you are enslaved mentally to pride and rage, and you can't be told what to do, and you have all of these different things going on with you that causes your heart to be heavy, demonic spirits eat that. They eat it like Thanksgiving dinner. They feed off of it. So keep that in mind on your daily basis. Everything that you're giving off is being consumed. I watched the video today. I've gotten in the habit of watching these testimonies, and the guy described hell, and in his description, these demonic spirits fed off of the screams, off of the pain, and off of the suffering of the tormented. And he said that they do the same thing to the living. So if you're operating from a place of rebellion or lust or whatever the case may be, if it's out of the order of God, most likely it's feeding off of it, which is in turn why you get a lot of the pushback that you get from people when you have this heaviness over you. You know, it's gotten to the point now, Lo and Christy, when I walk around now, my spirit doesn't have the same weight to it. I can almost like feel the separation between my spirit and my flesh. Like the
Mm-hmm.
I can feel the weight of my flesh versus the lightness of my spirit, and it's like, wow, this is actually heavy on me. Like this flesh is really heavy on me. So yeah, this food for thought. Bro, I know you got something you want to get off your chest, brother. Um, the floor is yours.
First off, I do apologize. I had to take this call, so I missed I missed a good piece of it. Um, but that's the thing. First one I caught though, but that's the thing that you know, it's hard because I try to see things and well, I see things in many different ways. So I do see it as you're saying it as well, and I also see it as lessons to be learned. You know what I mean when you're dealing with certain things. So um, excuse me. So it's just I don't know, man. It's just learning these lessons and learning how to basically use them as this that to get to the next level. You know what I mean? To be a better person. Like okay, you know what? I learned from this. I learned not to do this again. I learned to not be around that person again. I learned to be, you know what I'm saying? So so you can have your peace and so and also work on yourself, especially with your gifts. So um, sometimes it's hard to stray away from certain things, and we're human. But the best thing I could say is to stay prayed up and just to do your best to not be around it, basically. You know what I mean? Like to do your best to try and, you know, keep it away from you, know? Things like that. Sisters over.
Oh, okay. Um, I think that my takeaway on all of this is to not be afraid to be by yourself, not be afraid so to the point where fear sets in. When you start doing something and you start to change from being scared to fearful, where you're just like almost immobile, you know, just take a deep breath. I think everybody's got to take a moment out, and start understanding why it's important for them to
Right.
find their gift, for people to be able to talk about that
Mhm.
and be more accessible to helping out. When I don't know, maybe I can talk to somebody else and see where you can start. If you want to do your dance classes or you're doing your martial arts classes or whatever, whatever you're getting into, you know, cool. As you're growing up and learning from things wherever you are in your life, understand that it is the time to just want to be okay with that, because I know too many people do not like being alone.
Right.
And I think that they don't understand the difference between lonely and alone. And so it is okay to just stop the noise. It's okay to declutter your heart and everything else. Get rid of things. It's not easy. It isn't. And sometimes we fall. We slide back into old ways or something like that. But understand that once you are aware, once you get that feeling of how good it feels, once you start to see that what you planted is now harvesting time, so we need to gain more of the patience and everything else too, and the understanding, and again being of community. And it was not just Wicked Low that helped me out. It was the Zipper Hayes Young Natty chick that helped me with my album. I didn't know these people. So you don't know where your blessings are going to come either. So when you just know that you're on that right path, and it's okay to reach out, come. If you see this video, you replay it, and you want to say, wait a minute, I want to talk to Brother Mel, you know what I mean? Or you want to talk to me, or you want to talk to Wicked Low because something is sparking inside of you, then do it. You know what I mean? This isn't about, oh, you got to pay money for this and this is what you're doing, no. All of you that are artists and everything else that are going to be looking at this video, all the people that are just going to be able to have access to these types of podcasts, that Assembly of Excellence has brought different people all the way around that have different experiences, and we don't mind sharing them. Because to be able to go through an experience means to help you say, hey, look, I thought the same thing too. Or, I understand that you don't know where you should be headed. But I know one thing is for sure. When I don't allow myself anymore to focus on what hell looks like, because I feel it on this earth. And I know that I would never want to feel that way after I leave this earth. So I see that, okay, going into seeing other people's testimonies about actually seeing the devil and and what he looked like and all that stuff. No, I don't know about any of that, but I leave that to others that can school me. What I like to understand and get people to really understand is that you do have some control over which way you want to go. Do you want to use your gifts for good, or you want to use them for evil? Are you going to squander them away? Are you going to just feel like you're nothing when you are somebody? Like you said, Brother Mel, about, you're a unique person. You're the only one that's like you. People may favor you or whatever, or same with Brother Wicked Low, same thing. Okay, but there's nobody like you. And if you decide to leave out of this earth, and I don't condemn people who have thought of suicide. I will not condemn you, because the wickedness and the evilness can overcome to the point where you're just like, okay, all this stuff that's happening in life and everything else, I must not be favored. I must not be. I can't be. And I want to just tell somebody, yes, you can. And I can tell you it again. Please don't think it's an overnight fix. Whoever's telling you something like that you can just change it in an instant, no, it's not like that. You have to do the baby steps, and until you can crawl and you walk, you're doing your thing, okay, into your journey, into your gifts. So don't be afraid to reach out to anybody that's been on this podcast. But particularly get in touch with Brother Mel and be able to say, okay, I want to talk to so and so because this is the way I'm feeling. And nobody around me is understanding how it really is making me feel inside. It makes me feel horrible. I don't feel like no child of God. I don't feel like nothing is in me that is good, because everybody around them is telling them how bad they are because of jealousy and rage and anger and stupidity and ignorance and nastiness. And so be aware. It's okay to be sharp. It's okay to have 10 steps ahead of folks when you start to feel that energy. So wherever your place that you're in your life and you're understanding the term energy, and when you're feeling that negative energy, it's okay to leave it alone because you're not lonely. When you got God with you, you're never lonely. You only become lonely when you start to focus in on people being around you. And again, it's better to have 2 or 3 people around you than millions of people adoring you and you really are not a good person, or you're using your gifts for evil, or you squandered it selling your soul, you know.
Yeah, that's a whole fact. Y'all know.
Uh,
So, um, I don't even know where to start or where to end with this. You know how these things kind of go one way, and but all in all, I do want to say this: you have to be very, very cognizant of your walk right now. This isn't about me or anyone here. Let's just focus solely on you. This is about your life, your legacy, what God is going to say to you once all of this is over with. This is about whether or not you are truly happy 1000% with your lifestyle, with what you've done up until this point with your life. You don't have to impress nobody up here or anyone in your life. We can't take these people with us. We can't take none of this stuff with us. Family, friends, all of it. Once we leave here, that's it. What did you leave behind?
Hmm.
What was your portion? See, we spend most of our life wanting to serve ourselves and wanting to serve and idolize people and things, but we don't even do a fraction for God. Why? And you wonder why your life didn't align or come into the order that it should have a long time ago because you wanted to live life the way you wanted to live your life. And now you have the opportunity to do something that you were afraid to do or you were hesitant to do. If you were hesitant to do it, go for it now. Don't wait for nobody to give you confirmation. This is the confirmation. If you are here right now, there's a reason why you were here to hear this
Hmm.
because you probably needed to hear it. And maybe you didn't. Maybe you're just going to brush this off. I know I've done it majority of my life when people tried to talk to me and impart in me. Like I said, everybody's delivery is different. I'm not a psychologist. I don't have a PhD. I don't have degrees in certain. That's not my lane. But I know what I'm talking about. I have my own experience and my own outcomes and testimonies that can back up and support everything that I'm speaking on. Otherwise, I wouldn't say a word. I'd just shut up. You are better than what you are right now. I'm holding you accountable after this. Hold yourself accountable after this. Now, I'm going to continue to do what I'm doing, and I pray, you get something from it. I pray this helped in some way because fact of the matter is everybody that's around you is not for you. And you may have some things within yourself that you need to get rid of that is not for you. Satan is a great debater. He knows you very well. He knows your weaknesses. He knows how to use you and compromise you. It's time to wake up, folks. And to Greg Kelly, if you truly felt the way you feel about that person, highly suggest that you anoint your house, you anoint your windows, your doors, and you pray over that situation. Just too often that we get these gut feelings and we ignore them, and when we ignore it, it only grows and grows and grows.
Mm-hmm.
I would not ignore that one bit.
Right.
Hmm.
Yeah. Because I was taught that with white sage, um, that in biblical times and in history that people would cleanse their house, and what they would do was go all the way across their windows, their doors, or and using anointing oil afterwards. And sometimes opening up the doors, some getting some air, so that way the energy is shifting and the enemy is allowed to leave your home, whatever demonic spirit, whatever that's going on, to leave your house. And so I always just read Psalms, what is it, 25, and and just walked all the way in every room of my house. And I even gone as far as going all the way around the perimeters of my property and reading that. And I didn't care about anybody else and what they thought. I knew that I needed to have protection. So yeah, I agree with you that yeah, he's got to get that cleanse, and then that way he can get the discernment of okay, some whatever was wrong, and hopefully there's nothing that was too much that whoever was there, maybe they just had that kind of spirit on in them, you know, and you can just feel it. So it's very good to cleanse and have open, like I said, have some air flowing through. And if you're not into the sage, then because of the smell or whatever, then I would suggest also people who have Himalayan salts in every room because it collects all the negativity of our eons, the all of them, and all the dust and everything else. So not only is it a good health thing to do, but also that keeps the energy with people that are coming in and out, of our homes and stuff, family, friends, whoever, maintenance people, whatever that needs to come into your house. So when you don't feel, whether you feel it or not, it's a good practice. It's a very good practice to try to do, once a week, if not twice a week, to make sure that you have that cleansing energy. Because I truly believe in feeling it and knowing it and understanding it that something's not right.
Mad Mystic in the building. Uh, Nympher, I can't pronounce that. I'm sorry. You're gonna have to guide me on that one. They pulled up on IG. Salutes to them. Um, I just had to give shout outs to them real quick. Low, do you have any words before we conclude the conversation? I want to make sure you have ample opportunity to get your bars off.
Appreciate it. I appreciate it, man. Yeah, basically, what I'm gonna say as far as wrapping this up for my part, this is for anybody out there that do have anything that they love to do. Just not let just don't let anybody or anything really stop you from doing what you want to do. Especially, this day and age is crazy, but just do your best. Not let anything, anybody stop you from doing what you're doing. You know what I mean? And living your best life and using the gifts that were given to you. You know what I'm saying? Just keep on doing it and just, as sis say, don't fear nothing. Don't fear being alone. Don't fear being lonely. Just do it. You know what I mean? So that's just sis right there. Just keep pushing, and it's gonna all come together. So
100, 100. You, this is still the beginning stages of this war we are on. I gotta knock on wood real quick because we got a lot to talk about. We got a lot to cover. We have a lot of conversations to have. We got a lot of
Mhm.
guests to come up. We have a lots of different things to peel back in terms of these layers. If you're not familiar with any of the conversations that we've had up here, you need to go into the library. Go into the library, go back, listen.
Yeah.
Guarantee you're going to get something from one of these. I promise you. Because if
Mhm.
I didn't say something that pierced your spirit, Christy did, or Lo did, or Derek did, or Greg did, or Johnny, or Marts, or Jason. There's too many different people that has been on this platform who have dropped gems and have given you things that you would definitely gravitate towards. All you need to do is take some time out of your day, man. Go get you a little quiet place, take you a jog, hit the gym, whatever. Just I'm telling you, you're not going to get this in a lot of spaces. There are people who go into these topics, but it's rare and it's far in between. If I told you what I just now saw, if I told you what I just saw with my own eyes on Instagram, you would be like, "What the fuck did? It's that graphic."
wow.
These, I can, I don't even want them to try to penalize me for even saying. If you really curious, you don't want to see it, but curiosity makes people want to know what it is. If you're
Uh-huh.
really that curious, I'll let you see it, but you're gonna wish you never saw it. I promise you.
Send it, send it, send it. It's like, I'm just playing.
Oh,
I'm
Josh.
sorry. I had to. I had to.
Yeah.
I was just that one. Send it. Text it to me
You,
now.
you beat me to it. Yes, you did. You beat me to it because I was like, wait a minute, should I say it?
Right, right.
Hey,
I know. Hey, and these days, listen, bro. These days, bro, it's hard to interrupt, but like people are desensitized. Right? So I don't even know if like how or what it is, but man, I promise you, that's all. Like, send it. I don't know what it is. And then I'll be
Yeah.
traumatized. So, and me also terrible. I get traumatized. Like I'm traumatized. I'm gonna share it to somebody else so they can
Yeah.
so they can that I ask about me. Ask about me. I done it.
I'm gonna close out here. But to be honest with you, I would have to hold myself accountable for spreading that demonic mess, and I
Okay.
don't even want that on my head. So
Yeah.
I'm just gonna pray God take that out of my spirit and out of my head because that was definitely from Satan. That was definitely from
Right.
Satan, and the fact that
Hmm.
the very fact that it's on social media so bold like that is ridiculous to me. And people
I'm
actually like that stuff.
yeah. The sad part is like a lot of the positive stuff gets always gets shadowed by that. You know what I mean? People are more so into that kind of stuff, no matter how gruesome or how negative or whatever it is. That's the first thing you're gonna see opposed to somebody doing something good for somebody else or doing. You know what I mean? So and yeah, you'll see that before you see anybody promoting it. The first thing you're gonna see is that weird and sad,
All fact.
sad.
Hey, look, folks. We got a long week ahead of us. We got more things to discuss. If you are in the building this week, man, pull up. We back tomorrow. Tomorrow, I believe Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Actually, Friday is virtual open mic night. Pull up, man. If you got some bars you want to get off, it's always a vibe. I'm looking forward to it. Um, as usual, the conversations on the show, 7 p.m. same time. I want to thank Lo. I want to thank Christy for your transparency, for your time, for your spirit, for your presence. I thank everybody in the chat. I thank everybody on IG, everybody that's watching right now. I appreciate you. Would love your feedback on this discussion. Everybody has a gift. Everybody has something that they're good at, and I would love nothing more than to see you tap into that and break away from the things that are keeping you from being the best versions of yourself because you deserve it.
Hmm. Yes, you do.
Like,
But this is Assembly of Excellence saying peace, love, and blessings to you. You know how to reach me if you need to. If you don't, we'll work something out. But I hope and pray that you have a blessed evening. Push through the next week. And yeah.
Stick with us, y'all. Peace.
dude.